Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Gustavo Razzetti, and I'm going to be your host today. First of all, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for everyone that's making the time, but most importantly, for trusting me and listening to what I have to say today to help you lead in times of crisis. So before we get started, I want to know where you're joining us from. If you mind sharing, there's a chat box that you can use, and we're going to use it a lot during this session so you participate. So we have people from France, Madrid, Susan from Germany, Heidelberg, South Carolina, Houston, Calgary, Canada, London, Boston, Rome, Italy, Hanover in Germany, Trinidad, so DC, so a lot of people across the globe. That's amazing. People from Austin, of course, in the US and California. I'm based here in Chicago. So once again, welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time is in where you are. I hope everyone's safe. And I hope you guys are ready for a very exciting and hopefully insightful session. And we're going to be addressing a lot of stuff, and you're going to be participating as well. So let me share the presentation with you. I'm going to use a presentation, and as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a lot of exercises so you don't get bored just listening to my voice. Okay, so I hope you're in the right place. This is how to lead in uncertain times, an online masterclass to help everyone address the current situation, but most importantly, how can we prepare to thrive and succeed in this scenario? So a little bit about myself. I don't know if you're familiar with my work. Probably some of you, most of you read my stuff and follow my blog. That's why you're here. As I mentioned, my name is Gustavo Razzetti. I'm the CEO and founder of Liberationist. We're a change leadership consultancy. Basically, we help organizations design cultures that precede positive results. And we do that with training, with consulting, and coaching services. So as a leader, I face a lot of crises throughout my life running businesses. I'm originally from Argentina. I faced one of the most tremendous economic crises that you can imagine, even worse than now, like when the currency was devalued like 3 times in one night. So overnight you woke up and the Argentinian peso used to be 1 peso equal $1, and all of a sudden it was 3 pesos equal $1. So imagine running a business like that. I have to go through a lot of storms and difficult times running businesses in different countries as a former CEO. And also as a consultant, I deal with a lot of teams that usually are going through a lot of turmoils or issues or challenges. And so I'm very used to helping teams thrive and deal with uncertainty and crisis. So one thing that's important is always that when we're facing a situation like this we're not going to be immune to it. I mean, I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about our behaviors, our mindsets, everything. So something's going to change. Crises get out the worst and the best in people. So we need to decide and think, how are we going to come out of this storm? Are we going to come out as a better version of ourselves? Or the same because we resist, or are we going to improve our behaviors? The most important thing is the way you show up during a crisis is how you show up everywhere. It's easy to be a leader, whatever that means, regardless if you are a formal or informal leader, when things are easy, when things are okay. The true leadership comes to life when you're able to deal with uncertain, very difficult times as the one we're facing now. I'm talking about leadership. So today we're talking about how to lead in times of crisis. And this is not just for senior executives or CEOs. It's for anyone that wants to step up and play a role and lead those around them. But to lead, first, you need to take care of your own life. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead others. You cannot lead your team. You need to lead your team and then your organization, and of course, create a bigger impact in your own community. So whatever your role is, if you're the head of a family, if you're a brother or sister, if you're just a regular employee, it doesn't matter. We all lead. Lead is a verb. It's not a title. It's taking action and making sure that we contribute to making things better and not just be a passive observant. So what do we cover today? The most important thing is I'm not going to give you a recipe. There are not shortcuts to lead with a crisis. And for sure, I'm not going to overpromise. I don't have the magic solution that after 1 hour and 45 minutes, whatever, all together, you're going to leave this training with all your problems solved. No, I want to be realistic. What I'm going to be sharing today are insights, but most importantly, a framework. We're going to be sharing exercises, we're going to be sharing tools, and then you can get back to this video and apply those tools to your life and get back to it, when you get the recording, and use it to start addressing how you prepare yourself for the crisis. So in that sense, we're going to share a model, how to move from fear to D.A.R.E, discovery, how are we dealing with our emotions, how we can better prepare to deal and overcome and manage our emotions, how to recover autonomy. One thing that happens during crisis is that we have this sense of that we're losing control, that things, the crisis, people, the hysteria, the hoarders, everyone's social media, frenzy, everyone's taking care of us and we lose control of what we do. We're going to talk about how can we reframe the crisis into a growth opportunity, both on an individual and collective level. And last but not least, we're going to talk about how can we experiment and start using this crisis to test new behaviors, new ways of doing things, to grow as a person and get the outcomes that we want. And of course, we're going to have time at the end so we can address any questions that you may have. So let's get started. So this is adapted from acceptance commitment therapy, and it's a model that's called From Fear to D.A.R.E. So fear in our adaptation stands for fighting. So we fight reality, we resist what's going on, we don't like it, so we get mad, we are anxious, we start using excuses. I hear a lot of people canceling meetings, projects, etc., because they're busy, because of the crisis, and we turn the crisis into a huge excuse that instead of trying to say, okay, how can I adapt? We say, it's a crisis, so I cannot go to work, I'm going to start watching movies. So we start filling ourselves with excuses because of fear. We avoid responsibility, we avoid confronting ourselves, we avoid understanding what's going on, and then we fall into this kind of loop and we cannot act and make decisions. D.A.R.E stands for discovery, autonomy, reframing, and experimenting. I'm going to explain that in a second. So here you are. This is what we call a model to embrace an adaptive, a change mindset. So we coach a lot of teams and organizations that want to become more innovative, more adaptive, and we use this framework that has a lot of legs and a lot of tools. But the most important thing is, I think that for today, for this current situation, this is more useful than ever. Discovery is about self-awareness. Now we need to reflect, okay, what's going on? What are our blind spots? What are the things that we're missing that other people see about our own behavior, but we can't? So how can we help people like, hey, watch out? How can we correct our behavior? Understand, that's part of discovery, how we are feeling, how we react. Autonomy, as I mentioned, is how can we put all the excuses aside, all the tensions that we're facing, all the obstacles, and recover control of our own actions, of our life. Then, only then we can start saying like, let's reframe this. Yeah, it's complicated, it's difficult, people are afraid, people are getting crazy, the economy is going down, we cannot work from home all at the same time because for many people it's the first time. But you know what? We're going to see how we can turn those constraints, those obstacles, and reframe them into something that makes us more powerful. And last but not least, the E stands for experiment. So in regular life, we need to always try new things, to learn, to grow, to experiment. But now more than ever, we cannot continue doing business as usual. We need to try new things if we want to thrive in this situation. So let's start with discovery. One thing that's interesting, and you might see a lot of how people are reacting not to this situation, is we are afraid. And we would let our fear take over, we start reacting, no? So that's the notion of people like buying every toilet paper roll they can, or getting all the hand sanitizer, you know, people getting crazy. I like this example from a Denmark supermarket that basically says, like, you know what, if you take one bottle of a hand sanitizer, it's going to cost you $4 or the equivalent like 40 in Denmark currency. But if you want to take two, you're going to have to pay $95. So basically that's saying, you know what, stop it. And I think it's funny that someone like a supermarket has to remind us that we need to be mindful, we need to be smart and more logic and not react and overreact, because getting everything that we have, it's not going to solve the problem. And you know what? What this disease, what this virus is telling us is this is affecting everyone. So if you take everything in order to protect yourself, but the rest of the people are going to get infected, then you're going to get infected too. So we need to be collaborative, we need to be generous and mindful in this time. So I always tell people, when we're in this situation, we tend to fight reality. I know these words might sound strong for someone, like say, oh, I war with reality. But that's true. We need to face it. We need to acknowledge it. If we're trying to resist what's going on and react like crazy rather than keep our heads and be cool and smart, then we're not going to be able to move forward. And the first realization is that basically people are afraid because they feel that control has been taken away from them. And probably you feel the same. So we hear people saying, I'm not going to stay at home. I have my freedom. I can do whatever I want. But you know what? Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but your behavior affects everyone else's health and safety, of course. But most importantly is the illusion of control. We never have control over our lives, or full control. The things that happen outside with the economy, with the weather, with the virus, and so on and so forth, are out of our control. And this situation is basically making it more evident that we don't control life. So we need to realize, okay, this is a reminder that we're just one tiny human being in a whole universe playing our tiny role. So one exercise we use with teams to help them like address and uncover what's going on is called the stinky fish. No? So stinky fish is those problems that we don't want to talk about, that we don't want to address, and the more we avoid them, the worse they get, and they start to rot, and of course they start to smell. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be sharing all those tools and how to use them later, so you can practice on your own, and because if not, we're going to take a lot of time. But we can start like focusing on one of the aspects of this stinky fish that helps you deal with your uncertainties and fear. And once again, use the chat and share with me what's making you feel anxious or afraid right now. I'm not talking right now during this session, but in this moment in time. No? So what's making you feel anxious? What's making you feel afraid? Please share with everyone using the chat. Okay, we see a possibility of having to cut workers' hours, healthcare system not being able to cope, the economic crash, that I cannot run my own business, uncertainty over future income, not knowing where this is going to end, can't use my past success in this current environment, that other people are not being responsible, that my family is scattered, the clients have gone to ground. And I hear you. And you know what? I suffer from many of those things too. I mean, I don't live in a bubble. I'm talking here with you, but my own business is being disrupted. My own clients have been disrupted. My family too, my wife's work, everyone's suffering from this situation, and we're all worried. And it's okay to feel afraid. It's okay to feel like Luis is saying, not crazy and anxious. So, and that's the first realization we need to start making, which is it's okay to feel. We need to start. Yes, we're going to share. I mean, someone's asking about the slides and with the content. Yes, we're going to be sharing all those later, and the recording and the and information with all the tools that you can download and how to use them. But once again, it's okay to feel, and it's okay to feel whatever you guys are sharing. No, it's okay that we are afraid because we're humans. and emotions, fear, anxiety are basically how we react. It's how our body sends a response to alert us, to make us aware of potential danger. And that's not the issue. So I recommend that you start addressing your fears, your emotions, you start facing them, but also asking your team, what about them? But we need to be mindful of our reaction to those emotions. So don't let your emotions drive your life. So in that sense, there are two ways that we can react, no? Because we cannot control, as I mentioned, what happens outside our life, but we can control our response. So there are two ways to react. I'm sorry, I have an allergy. I don't have any cold or whatever, so don't worry. I'm far away, but I'm sneezing a little bit. So basically, there are two ways to react. One is with caution. Yeah, there's a little bit of fear, no, and that fear prevents us to do business as usual, to continue with our life. We want to take some distance, not just a physical distance, but also worry and protect ourselves. And preventing and taking and prevention is something healthy, no? Of course, we are in a very difficult time. We need to take care of our health, our economy, our family, blah, blah, blah. But the other extreme, and many people, unfortunately, are reacting like this, they are into panic mode. They're being paralyzed, they're stopping their regular activities. And what's happening is that many of them are afraid of us. And we start seeing other people as the enemy. They're going to get me a disease. They're going to steal my hand sanitizer. They're going to get all the food I need. They're going to steal my job. My boss is going to fire me. So I understand the worry, but entering into panicking mode, it's not going to help us. So what can we do? So one thing that I always ask people is, like, I use this all the time, especially when I'm embarking, like very frequently, in a new venture, a new project, launching a new service, something, a new workshop, that it's entering into completely uncharted waters. And I always ask myself, you know, when I feel a little bit of fear, what's the worst thing that can happen? And what about you? What's the worst thing that you feel that can happen now? If you want to type and share with everyone. That people get sick, business get closed, 3 months of lockdown, never get back to normal, that we're going to be trapped. I'm reading what you guys are sharing, okay? Momentum slows down, having no incomes. Yeah, and we can actually get sick ourselves, not just our family, and we can die. Because in the end, the biggest fear that we have as human beings, especially when we lose control, is death. And I know you want to talk about death, but we have to face it. Especially in Western cultures, we were taught death as something that we fear. But when we're afraid of the worst thing that can happen, right, then we get paralyzed. But we cannot let that from happen. So there's this thing that, take a deep breath. Let's stretch ourselves. Let's take a deep breath, you know. When we fill our lungs with air, not only we get oxygen that freshen up our mind and our body and everything, but also we get to pause. So there's this 90-second rule that was invented, you know, by Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, and basically she's a scientist. And what happens is, when a person has a reaction to something, you know, there's a 90-second chemical process that happens in the body, like a reaction. So if we don't do anything and we let go, basically in those 90 seconds, we're going to overreact, no? So something's wrong, and then boom, we explode, no? We take a outburst. But if we take those 90 seconds to breathe, to pause or stop, and once that time is over, then we're going to feel in control, and we're going to think, okay, I hear you, this is not, I don't like what's happening, but then what can I do? What are different options? Evaluate alternatives, and then, only then act. When we don't do this, when we don't pause, we react. And most of our reactions are not necessarily healthy. And they go against our own benefit. So once again, this is an easy trick. Remind yourself. So when you're facing something that the worst thing that can happen and you start about to enter into panic mode, take a deep breath, another deep breath, spend 90 seconds. It's gonna feel very long at the first time until you get used to it, but it's just 90 seconds that are really valuable for you to stop overreacting and regain control of what's the best course of action. And in that sense, what it takes to act like a leader in today's world. And once again, a leader, regardless of your title. Notice how other people are feeling. No? The stinky fish that I show you, there's a lot of people that are using that tool with their family members, of course, with their teams, to see, okay, guys, what's going on? What's making you afraid? Also, when you engage people, right? If you're a boss, I mean, I hear a lot of people that their bosses, that if they used to be very controlling in regular times, now they are even more paranoid and expecting people to be always responding emails, to be on call all the time, and blah, 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 when people have their kids at school, at home, and many other obstacles that they need to deal with. So are you engaging your team from a place of anxiety, or are you bringing calmness? Are you calm so you can have a mature and calm conversation? It's important to be empathetic, understand what's going on with other people. Not everyone's going to react the same. Yes, some people are going to be crazy. Some people are going to be buying everything they can. Don't judge them. I know people, I mean, we are smarter sometimes than others, and we can help rather than criticize. Criticizing is not better than people that are hoarding. So when people are being afraid, how can we bring calmness and compassion and support with action? Your team is going to take time. I hear a lot of people that cannot work. I mean, our team are coaching a lot of individuals, and last week, I mean, we heard a lot from people from different organizations that they are paralyzed, they cannot work, they're afraid. They are trying to adapt to this new reality, but most importantly, they feel that they cannot address their issues with their bosses. So if you're a boss, open up, create a space without judging people, try to understand what's going on. If you don't have this conversation, you're not going to help your team adapt. And once again, leaders have to be helpful. So ask your team, how can I help you? Don't assume that you know what they need. And each person might need a different kind of solution. Of course, if you want to help others, first you need to help yourself. And this is not selfish by any means. It's practical, common sense advice. So put on your oxygen mask first, no? Like they say on the airplanes, because if you run out of air, you're not going to be able to take care of your kids. So first, protect yourself. Make sure you make time to sleep. Don't stress too much. Don't drink too much alcohol. I mean, drink water. Be calm. So if you're in a good shape, you're going to be able to help others without getting tired. Another thing that's important, I mean, and that's the second part of the D.A.R.E model, which is autonomy, is how can we regain control of our life? And basically, how can we regain control of our own choices, no? And this is, autonomy is about deciding what we do, how we do it, and with whom we do it. And of course, as you were saying in the chat a moment ago, now you cannot do business as usual. Now you're affected by everything that's happening right now. So I'm going to invite you to reflect on how can you recover autonomy and what things can you do to regain control of your life. This is a tool that we use with teams that for me is really powerful, because in regular times, and now more than ever, at least 85% of the things that happen in life make us feel limited or powerless because we don't control them, no? So start thinking about the things that are out of our control. I usually have teams like for 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes feeling this, no? What are the things that are out of our control? My boss doesn't let me take decisions. I don't have the information. I don't have the budget, whatever are the limitations that basically make us lose control. But then we flip the canvas, so it's like a judo take, right? And you get, instead of being under, you're now in control, and focus on the things that matter. What are that 15% that makes you powerful? So think a little bit and share with everyone here, please. Like, forget about all the crises and start considering what are the things that you control. It doesn't matter if it's little, your decisions, your reaction, what things are the things that you control, and how can you use them to help others, okay? So my mind, thank you, Sebastian, my thinking. So focus on, I know a lot, but about empathy, my time, my focus, my disposition and mindset, how much I exercise, learn, and take care, my positivity to my team, my ability to listen, positivity, mindset. You see, the more you start digging and continue, and of course you're going to practice this at home, but for now, continue to share what comes to mind. Because this is very powerful, because when we flip the equation and we stop worrying about everything that's beyond our control, and we start focusing on what we can manage, then, only then, we can regain control of our life. And another thing that's crucial is, if you want to regain control of your life that has been disrupted by this virus globally and that took everyone by storm, is you need to build a routine. I mean, I've been working remotely for many years, but I worked remotely in the past, and I manage remote teams and also coach remote teams. So I'm very used to this. And I know that what makes or break working remotely is people that don't have a routine. I cannot stress this enough. You need to wake up at the same time you used to. And this is, for me, the biggest advice I can give you. You can now go and do something else. But it's, people say, because I don't have to commute, because I'm going to have fewer meetings, no, I'm going to start like changing my, no. Stick your body to the same time schedule, especially when you wake up. First, because in order to rest, our body is used to sleep, to a sleep cycle. So if you go to sleep at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every day, then you're going to sleep like an angel. Perfect. Also, now you don't have to commute. Fantastic. You save a lot of time that you can use for exercise, meditation, learning, whatever it takes. Pick a place and make it into your own office. Doesn't mind if you live in a studio with 3 people, like choose a box, a place that's going to be your spot. Don't work from your bed. Try it if you can, don't work from your bedroom. Choose another place so you don't mix where you rest from where you work. Keep them separately. Dress up. Dress as if you are like working from, so no pajama. Don't start, because the image that you present, not only to others, but to yourself, you start shaving, you start taking care of your hair, you dress like if you're going to sleep, then all your mindset is going to collapse. So take your job and whatever you do seriously by showing up early, by dressing up, by taking care of your body. A power nap, that's amazing. So I do it from time to time, 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. Sometimes I have to spend, I stay at until 3 a.m. like writing an article, because I have to keep with my regular delivery, and boom. So what happens? The next day I wake up at the same time. So at some point I feel like tired, I take a nap, I wake up, and it's like waking up twice in the same day. It's really re-energizing, we're focused, boom, we move on. Of course, and we should do this every time, but blocking time is essential. Many people don't do it. So now if you haven't done it in the past, in regular working hours, that's a time to start learning how to block. So don't just have meetings on your calendar, have also block time for thinking, reading, researching, exercising, having lunch, whatever. If you don't set clear boundaries throughout your working time and after, you're going to get screwed up. Sorry. Another way of taking control is focusing on the present. No? So my personal definition of mindfulness is have your mind where your body is. If you're sleeping and your body is lying on bed at night, but your mind is thinking about tomorrow's issues or worrying about what happened during the day, you're not there. And if you're not present, you're not enjoying and you cannot rest. The same happens when you're in a meeting or in other spaces. So basically, it's important to stay consistent and focus on the present. The past is gone. The things that used to be in a way, they're never going to get back to that. And I can tell you, when things are over, we're not going to get back to how we used to work. There's going to be a new way of working. There's not going to be a new reality. How is that going to look? No one knows. Whoever is trying to tell you they know, they're lying. So we cannot control the past. We cannot control the future. Focus on today. Focus on the present. And that's the only space that you can have control and make decisions. This is my mantra. Basically, it's my motto for this situation is don't wait for the crisis to finish, prepare for when it's over. A lot of people are canceling everything because, of the crisis. That's an excuse. This is a perfect time for invest in yourself, invest in your team, invest in your business, invest in your personal development. No? Start by reflecting on how you were doing things, business as usual. What are things that are working? What are not working? Many clients, we work with a lot of companies to help them get rid of time wasters, those meetings, reports, things that they have that are not useless, but because we've been doing them for years, boom. So now it's a perfect moment to start like, what if we stop doing our status report? What if we start doing that stuff and the other stuff and so on, and see if it really affects performance? You're gonna realize that you're gonna save a lot of time and get rid of stuff. Start reviewing your current routine as you adjust to working remote, to working from home, to this disruption. Start monitoring what's working for you, what's not working, so you can bring those practices to when things get back to the new normal. No? What skills do you have that you want to strengthen? There's a lot of courses, not just this. There are many webinars, free courses. People are being really generous sharing stuff. Use that time to learn and grow, okay? So don't waste your time on Netflix. It's okay to watch a movie at night, but during working hours, during regular time, invest time in yourself. And also reflect on your habits, no? What are the great habits that you have? No, someone was mentioning about Pedro, habits are needed only when you're not living consciously. So how can we become more aware of the way we live? What patterns of behaviors get in our way? What are helping us? And what can we do about it? So the third part is how can we reframe the R from there, okay? There. And reframe is about changing, flipping how we see a reality, okay? So how can we turn constraints into a superpower? And there's an interesting story that for me really, really wonderful, which is about D.A.R.E, the automotive company, that they were trying to perform much better at the 24-hour Le Mans race, no? And what happened is they couldn't build they couldn't build the fastest engine, so they were losing year over year against everyone else. So at some point, the chief engineer at D.A.R.E decided to reframe the question, no? So instead of trying to build the fastest car, he said, okay, how might we win the race without having the fastest car? So by switching their weakness or their limitation into an opportunity, they were able to develop a more fuel efficient engine. As you might guess, a 24-hour race means that cars are racing nonstop, right? So and they have to stop from time to time to refuel. So a more fuel efficient engine means that they don't need to stop as much. And by saving time on those pit stops, they were able to win not only one Le Mans, but 3 or 4 in a row. Okay? 4 actually years in a row. Another powerful way to reframe things is the language that we use. Words play a huge impact, no? So neuroscience, like Dr. Andrew Newberg says that the longer you concentrate on positive words, the functions in the parietal lobe of our brain start to change and then end changing the perception of ourselves. So people are talking about social distancing. I say, social distancing, no, we don't need to get rid of social interaction. We need to keep physical distance. No, it's about not being close to people from a physical standpoint, not losing those relationships. We need to be as social as ever. Don't feel that you're isolated. We are protecting ourselves by staying at home. If you have to pause, don't feel that you're being paralyzed. No, this is a pause. Perfect time for you to start incubating, to start thinking about new things that you can do and grow, not to be stuck. If you feel that you don't know what to do, no, this is not boredom. Boredom, don't reject it. Embrace your boredom and ask yourself, what's going on? What is this boredom telling me about myself? How can you turn that empty space, that free time, into energy for creativity. And last but not least, it sounds like a cliche, turning crises into opportunities. But I can tell you, I've been experiencing this throughout my whole life and working with a lot of teams. And as Ori told you, the story I shared before, like, how can you turn something that's an issue and reframe the language you use, how you approach it, and turn it into an opportunity? Another way to reframe things is the context, right? So think about this. We believe that this is the worst crisis ever because most of us, we haven't lived other crises. But you know what? The Spanish influenza killed 1 out of 20 inhabitants in Spain, the Spanish fever. In the 14th century, the plague or bubonic plague killed 31% of European population. That was in the year 1347. And in 1 year, 18 million people died. And I can tell you the population of the world was really, really tight. And at that time, most of the people live in either Asia or Europe. So that's a lot. So 31% of European people died. So I think it's important. I'm not saying to minimize what's going on, but sometimes we need perspective to detach ourselves to our current crisis and see, yeah, as human beings, we live and we went through darker times and we survived. Also, what about you? Think about things that happened to you in your life. Maybe you were sick, you lost a job in the past times, or you were divorced or lose someone you love. I mean, we all went through a lot of personal crises and we were able to recover. So this is not an excuse, on the contrary, it's giving you context to provide distance to make sure that you are stronger than you think. But most important, to remember and remind yourself that you're resilient and you've done this before and you are gonna do it right now. We also need to reframe our stories, no? What's the story that are you telling yourself right now? Poor me, I'm gonna lose my job, no one gets me, I'm alone, this is gonna go to hell. What's the story you're telling about yourself right now? But most importantly, what story do you want that people tell you? No, what's the story that you want to be told about yourself when this crisis is over? That you were afraid, you were a coward, you were paralyzed, or you want people to tell you, no, you were able to step up, you were able to inspire us, you were able to bring calm, you were able to bring light and direction, help everyone move forward, no? So resilience, I'm talking about resilience, it's something really interesting because most people think of resilience as something that it's innate, and research shows and psychology shows that's not true. We're not born resilient or not. It's something that it's a skill that we can develop. And it has nothing to do with being strong or with other kind of powers or whatever, no? It's about basically developing the ability to reframe how we deal with adversity. That's why I call it, like, we need to help first learn how to rescue ourselves by reframing how we see a reality. And in that sense, you need to help other people too. You need to help your team. And your team can be your coworkers, can be your colleagues, can be other professionals in the same industry that are suffering as you are, can be your family, your friends. People need your reassurance. This is not about telling them, hey guys, everything's gonna be okay and okay, I'm fine. That's not the point. But how can you bring clarity? How can you bring calmness? Invite others to reframe their situation. Remind them, we live through worse crises. Rethink about your own crisis. Rethink about what are you in control? How can you use those to turn constraints into superpower? Provide structure, no? Help them like plan things, don't react, like let's sit down, let's brainstorm. What are different directions? Share tools like I'm doing now, no? There are plenty of tools that you can use with your teams, some of these and many others, to help them, not just, hey, figure it out, but actually go through these exercises to figure it out. Another thing that's important is we need to design how we collaborate and work together. Many companies are expecting their people to just adjust to the new normal without giving them structure. And that's not going to happen, especially if you're a team. You need to coordinate and design together how you're going to partner, work, and collaborate right now. As a leader, ask for feedback. Instead of telling people what to do, ask them, okay, how can I help you? What can I do? What can I improve? What do you see in me that's working? What do you see? What kind of behaviors or reactions I'm bringing to the table that are hurting the team? Now is the time to be vulnerable. And basically, this is not about weakness. It's not about being weak. It's about being human. It's about opening up and showing other people that we need each other to succeed. So be brave. This is a tool, I don't know if you're familiar with my culture design canvas, which is a tool that we use to map the culture of teams and organizations. This is an iteration, a simplified version I created to help teams in this precise moment to design how they're going to be working remotely. So I simplified their fewer building blocks. And as you can see, this is not necessarily an example, but just some nuggets, no? How are people dealing? No, this is for Acme, whatever companies that is. Let's see, remember the cartoons. So what's happening now, it's like we need to rethink how we work, no? We need to rethink like what tools are we going to use, no? Agree on technology tools. How are we going to share meetings, you know? For example, when you work remotely, time is of the essence. You need to be more structured. So we need to be more efficient, no? Start and end our meetings on time. Norms. Yeah, you can create your own schedule, but you know what? If there are meetings that are being scheduled, you need to show up. You cannot decide if you're going to show, you know, whenever you want, no? So stick to a routine. Like what kind of trivias, no? Some people in Facebook, the company, you know, the social platform, so are basically having a trivia game at 3 p.m. So the company has identified that way they can keep everyone connected and have fun together, have some kind of emotional connection during these times, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do. There are some teams that have like a weekly meeting that what they do is kind of, for example, Simon Sinek's team, they have a ritual that they call, no ritual here, that they call huddle. And the huddle basically is a weekly video call that's just devoted to building personal connections. They don't talk about work, even though they are a team that work together. They talk about themselves, what's got their hearts and minds, and basically it's kind of bringing to a virtual scenario the water cooler that everyone has in the office to encourage those engagement and interactions. So you're gonna get this tool and you can use it with your team to define how you wanna work together. We need to experiment. That's the last part of the model, the E. And experimenting requires that we stretch beyond our comfort zone. And I want to share this graphic because usually people misrepresent what it takes to leave our comfort zone. No, people think like our comfort zone, leaving our comfort zone is about going crazy, jumping from an airplane with a parachute, scuba diving with sharks, or doing crazy stuff, and that's getting out of our comfort zone. It might be, but something that people get wrong, it's between the comfort zone and the danger zone, which is doing high risk but low performance activity, there's the learning zone. That learning zone is where learning, of course, and growth happens. So we need to stretch here. We are forced in this situation to do, but either you can choose to stay here and fight and resist, or you can embrace the new normal and say, okay, what new behaviors I'm gonna start experimenting with? What new things can I do in this new reality? And there are a lot of examples, you know, like people here, they're playing a bingo, they're keeping the physical distance, but still creating that social connection in this unit. There's also interesting that many times we resist the new stuff because we don't know, and kids, it's not that they are smarter than we adults, but basically kids don't react. They just go with the flow. Their brains are a little bit more flexible, and we can train ours to be as well. So how might we deal with new experiences like kids do? No? Like, for example, we have a kindergarten, it's a picture from a couple of days ago, that she's basically engaging with all her friends from kindergarten and still learning, still interacting with her teacher in spite of these limitations. No? As you can see on the screen, all the other families and kids are there showing up and participating as well. This is a perfect time to collaborate with strangers. And yeah, you've seen a lot of videos of people singing on the balconies, people in this case playing different instruments and composing songs together and playing together, right? Like if they were a band. But this is a perfect opportunity. Use this as inspiration. Where are the people that you can reach out that maybe you don't know? Maybe it's a colleague, maybe it's someone that sells the same product or service that you do and you feel that it's a competitor. Well, now it's time to join forces and reach out to people that you don't know and say, okay, how can you help me? How can we work together? Of course, in order to experiment, let's not forget our sense of humor. You know what? Yeah, I'm not saying don't take the Christ seriously, but don't take life too seriously. We need our sense of humor because humor, it's great for us to stay calm, but also humor is great to build stronger relationships and to be creative. How can you use your strengths? No? Start reflecting what strengths do you have. Forget about your current job if your job is in danger, but what are the skill sets that you have used in this job and in previous ones that you can reframe and experiment and use them towards new activities, no? Like this example of a Scottish brewer called Brewdog, that basically they stopped their factory and instead of manufacturing beer, they start manufacturing a hand sanitizer, and they're donating everything to Aberdeen's Royal Infirmary intensive care unit to help them through this crisis. You know? So there's a lot of people that are being generous, but they're also being inspiration. Sorry, they're inspiration for us to how can we use our strength and turn them into something else. So leading your business or your company in these uncertain times, forget about business as usual. Like if you're trying to stretch, I mean like stretch in the sense of stay doing things as you used to, you're gonna fail. That time is gone, it's time to rethink. I cannot stress this enough, no, now more than ever. Inaction is more expensive than making mistakes. So start doing things, test things, throw things out there and see what happens, see how people respond. And if they don't work, try new things. But staying for things to come and to find the perfect idea is going to get you killed, your company business. So now it's time to start breaking rules, trying new things. No? Think about how you can operate remotely, not just interacting remotely with people, but also how can you start turning services that you used to give probably in person through digital tools. What new offerings can you create? Like reframe your offering. Now it's time to, I mean, we are creating a lot of new products that are virtual, that are different to help people thrive in this situation. Who can help you? And how can you prepare for the new normal? That's the way you need to approach leading your business in uncertain times. You cannot do this alone, so you need to find someone. No? This is a tool to help you find and design a success partnership and accountability partner. Find that person that can be your boss, a colleague, a former colleague, a team member, a family member, a friend. Because when we choose an accountability partner, our chances of success triple. And in that sense, this person can be your go-to partner once a week that you guys talk over video and discuss what's going on, what are your goals, how that person can coach you and help you, give you advice, give you support, maybe brainstorm ideas, and you can do exactly the same with that person. So find that partner. Now more than ever, we need that success partnership because we cannot thrive, we cannot succeed alone. So we need to build resilience, and mention resilience, a muscle that we have to build, no? And there are a lot of studies and research that shows that kids that were born out of misery, foster homes, whatever, and some were able to succeed and some were not. So it's not that they have a particular environment or education or strengths or personality. It's simply those kids reframe their situation. They found someone else, an adult in that case, that became their go-to person, their accountability partner, and they were able to basically grow up and become successful. No? So 1 out of 3 people are able to overcome the worst misery possible by trusting in themselves, by reframing their context and finding someone that can become their support agent during times of uncertainty. So wrapping up, this is the D.A.R.E model that I share. It's a framework that you can use with the exercise and also for you to reflect. And this is a never-ending cycle, no? Reflecting, okay, what's keeping you awake at night, how you're reacting, what are your emotions, your mindsets today, how can you recover control by focusing on you can control, by building a routine, by focusing on the present time? How can we frame obstacles and limitations and other stuff into a superpower? No? Think about Ori, think about people that in spite of all the issues that they are facing, the same issues as you, and many people are facing even worse situations, they're able to, boom, change stuff because they flip, like that judo take a framework I shared before. And last but not least, my friends, this is the time to experiment. I know it's hard for people to take risks, especially when we're grown up, because I work with teams trying to help them become more innovative in normal times, and people are afraid. Imagine now it's even worse. But we don't have a choice, and I can tell you it's going to be a fascinating journey, but you have to trust yourself and move into action. Remember, inaction is more expensive than making a mistake. So, wrapping up, and before we jump into the Q&A, think how you feel now and how you want to come out from this storm. What's the version? What's the improved you that you're going to bring to the world, to your workplace, to your family after this crisis is over? Okay, so and in our case, as I mentioned, we've been building a lot of services. I mean, I have a lot of master classes that now we're offering those master classes online to help people like continue to focus on what's important, not just putting off fires. And we are also offering coaching to teams and individuals that need support in this particular crisis. So if you have a question or want to learn more about how we can help you or some of your team members or friends, let me know. And of course, we put, with the tool I show you and many other things that we have, the Canvas, we're helping teams like in a 2-4-hour session, virtual session, of course, understand what's going on with this adaptation process, how the team is suffering, what things are working and aren't working, help them design the new culture to thrive in this environment of remote work and accelerate that process, because many people are struggling and they need some support, and we do that in regular time. So we are offering this accessible, very short virtual product or service, however you want to call it, to help people. So once again, I want to thank you guys for your time and all the patience and contribution and a lot of participation. I appreciate that you've been very honest and candid sharing your current situation, because it's not easy. This is my contact information, and now I'm open to address any questions, comment that you can have. That's my email, if you can. So people saying thank you for the approach. I hope you can use it. And of course, thank you for my generosity. I think everyone has to step up, and that's how we do it. And everyone has to contribute. Someone asking about the culture canvas can be done individual. Yes, you can do, but most importantly, if it's about how the team works together, you need to align. So you can start doing, Suzanne, you can start doing your own session, your own version, but then at some point you need to connect with your team because you need to align. When will be the recording available? The recording will be available in a couple of hours, whenever Zoom sends it to me. I mean, there has a little bit of lag and issues because of everyone's on the internet now sharing stuff and videos and things. So, but usually within the hour, I get the video 2 hours, and after that, you're going to be sending an automatic email to all of you with the tools and everything. Someone, Renee, thank you for recommending the culture design canvas with your teams. I appreciate you sharing my tools. I appreciate all the nice comments and support. You made my day. I feel energized, and I think that you too, like giving to people and providing support and do whatever I can to help you strengthen your skill set and your mindset. That's awesome. So someone saying stay well and don't work too hard. That's right. So as I mentioned, take care of your health, exercise, and take that nap. That's important. And sleep well. What kind of digital whiteboard are you using in remote workshop? Someone from Scotland saying, I'm using oh my God, I have a blank. I'm using Slide Flip, which is a tool, and then another tool that I have a kind of a blank, but I'm not sure if you have to remember what happened. That's a collaboration tool. Oh my God, well, sorry for that. I'm a little bit tired. I've been working a lot, putting all this stuff together because I'm running 3 webinars this week. What else? Let's work together for sure. Yeah. What else? Thank you guys for participating. I mean, it's my pleasure to put these things together. Someone that joined late, yes, we mentioned the recording will be available later today. Someone that thinks adhering to this has been positive, I think I appreciate that. That's great. But most importantly, I'm not here to motivate people. That's not my role. I'm here to empower you, basically to give you the power to act. And I want to share insights and tools because that's the way you can basically thrive in this kind of a situation, okay? Someone saying that I teach generosity. No, I just teach what I think that people need and everyone's contributing. Any questions about the tools and everything that we shared, please let me know. We have a couple of more minutes. There's no need to rush. For the person who asked me if I am going to give live sessions in LinkedIn, no, I don't have access to that tool. I have a lot of followers and stuff, but for whatever reason, LinkedIn didn't grant me access yet. Someone asked about the tool I use for remote collaboration and brainstorming and for workshops, besides Zoom, of course, and Zoom rooms that allows people to break out in different spaces. You can replicate the session when people are break out in small teams. The tool I use is called Mural, mural.co, mural.co. And basically Mural, it's a tool that allows replicate. So you can create like canvases like this and people can work remotely and they can see like what everyone's writing and you can create like post-its, virtual post-its and make changes and then share with people among other stuff. So that's a great tool. And actually those guys are offering, no, I don't have any relation with them, but they're offering the tool for free. You can try it because of the crisis for 90 days for free. So I would advise, it's a little bit, it's not complicated, but it requires some practice. So use Mural. In terms of exercise to be more resilient, I'm going to share some mindfulness exercise. I put a blog post a year or so ago with a lot of exercises that basically help us practice on that, on self-awareness, on reinforcing behaviors and becoming more resilient. So that was Tim. So you're going to be getting that as part of the package I'm going to be sending later today with the video and the tools and everything else. If someone can use extracts from YouTube on Zoom, basically we don't recommend that. I don't want people like, I'm generous as you mentioned, or I try to, but I want people to be like editing stuff and sharing because it creates a lot of issues that then I see a lot of people that have been copying content that I create and take a lot of time developing it, like articles, and then people are copying things and signing that they wrote themselves, and I don't want, so if you want to share the content, you can share the content I create, but don't repurpose it and then you turn into something else because that's creates a challenging thin line. So in my experience, in most of the cases, people have used that. I'm not saying you are. So I don't allow people to edit my content, and I don't allow people to copy my articles because they are copyrighted and have so I allow people to download the tools, but the tools are under a Creative Commons license that basically anyone can use them for free. And I create tons of tools, but you cannot remove the copyright and the text that goes within them that attributes to myself and my website and so on, if people are find out who created. So I hope you understand and understand that. Looking forward to this care package. So that's a nice way to appreciate. What's your biggest challenge now? You're asking people or me? I have many, but I'm more on the challenge. I focus on what can I do. I've been very active and creative, and since everything started, my brain has been focusing more and more into moving forward. And I hope you guys can basically like adopt that same mindset. And once again, you have my email. I'm not saying that I will address any questions, because sometimes people try to say, hey, can you help me? One question is good. Some advice or tools, whatever you need, it's okay, but I cannot do a 24-hour coaching to everyone because I have a family, a job, and many things to do. So that's why I do this collective stuff to help people. But I understand that sometimes people are either shy, and they don't want to talk in a public scenario, or maybe they forget something, or maybe after practicing with some tool, they face some obstacle. That's okay. And if it can, I will answer. If not, it's not because I'm being rude, but you have also to understand that I have a life. So I try to provide a lot of help. I also have to take care of my clients, my projects, and my family and personal life. So thank you for that. So if anyone has any, you're welcome, Renee. Thanks for joining. And hopefully we're going to be meeting again in New Zealand when we take the masterclass to there in September, because I'm hoping, I mean, I still have masterclasses that are going to be live once this crisis is over. So I postpone some classes, but many others are going to be run when things are over, but also I'm running a lot of stuff virtually. So we are done in terms of time. I have some free minutes if you guys have more questions or comment for me before I finish the call. So now is your time to ask any questions or comment or feedback or whatever. If there's something that you disagree or don't like, also, this is the time. I like to learn as well. I don't have the truth. I don't have all the solutions. I'm just an experience, and you can see my gray hair. I have a lot of experiences in life, but I don't have all the answers. So I'm always looking to learn from you as well. And if you challenge my thinking, that's going to help me grow as well. So not only I appreciate the compliments, but also if you don't like something that I say, or if your question, or boom, shoot, or if you have any other tool that you want to share with the participants so they can see when they review the recording, go ahead. Someone's asking about any other webinars. Check on LinkedIn, because I'm running another webinar with the UK Association of Change Management tomorrow, which is about culture design, about all my tools on culture design. That's tomorrow. On Friday, I'm running a session that's a shorter one, alpha, that it's about helping teams design a remote culture. So in that sense, we're going to focus more on, okay, you're a team, you're suffering from this disruption, and we're going to show you some tools, some process for you to, if you want to do it alone, how to have that conversation and move into action and recover the rhythm. Someone working alone, I mean, I work alone. I have people that work with me, but they don't work in the same space. I think that it's important to join networks, guys. I mean, there's going to LinkedIn, there's a lot of community, not necessarily groups, but basically people that are related because they share the same stuff. So start contributing and find people that are basically sharing stuff that's close to you. Comment on their posts, start building a relationship, and then at some point you can reach out and say, hey, I have this issue. Start building relationships. As I mentioned, building an accountability partner. Think about, I mean, a friend, your former boss, a colleague, whatever, someone that have worked with you, that knows you, or have some kind of trust. And that would be the first step, not to have some support, even if they don't work on the same project. You can connect through video once a week and reach out to that person and say, you know what, I didn't think about that idea. What do you think? Open up yourself on social media, you know? I mean, more than Facebook, LinkedIn is becoming a very interesting platform nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of people selling bullshit, but ask questions there. There's a lot of generous people that are going to reply. They're going to give you your feedback. If you're thinking, you know what, this is my challenge and I'm considering going through this route or that route, what do you think? People reply. People are really generous. So use that space to basically connect with them. No? So yeah, look at that partner sheet and the exercise and find someone sharing, because I think it's critical to find our support, you know? And share stuff. No? That's very important. So one last call. I'm sorry, I think I missed this time zone difference. This will be able to attend it later. Tina, what do you mean exactly when you say this will be able to attend it later? I mean, the webinar that we just had, you're going to get the recording later today. I'm going to be running the same session, same content next Tuesday, which happens to be my birthday, turning 53, if you ask. So yes, Tina, it's going to quedar grabado. You're going to get it, this one. But if people want to attend a live session, we have the benefit of maybe a refreshing content and they want to ask questions. I'm going to run exactly the same session at the same time next Tuesday, March 31st at 12 p.m. Central Time, US Central Time. Thank you for the happy birthday. It was a shout out for myself. Yeah. And as I mentioned, I have other 2 workshops on 2 different topics. Tomorrow on culture. If you are subscribed to my newsletter, I sent that earlier this morning. So an update of all the upcoming webinars. And if you're not, you can ask me, send me an email. I can forward you my latest newsletter that have all the information of all the free webinars I'm running in the next 10 days. So I think that's it. It's 1:06. I really appreciate your time. And once again, as I said at the beginning, I appreciate your trust, putting your confidence, your space to trust what I have to say, to listen and to my framework and tools. And I hope you can start experimenting and using them, and feel free to reach out. And I hope to hear from you, how you're making progress. This is a challenging time, but it's also an interesting time. You're not alone, trust yourself, and everyone's going to come out of this crisis in a better shape. So June, I appreciate, shoot me an email, because I might lose all the messages on the chat later. Sometimes it's recorded, but not everything, for whatever Zoom practices, or not all the messages come up. So if anyone needs something for me, shoot me an email, because I'm not going to be able to review all the chat, and also there were a lot of people. So thanks again. So have a wonderful time. Enjoy the rest of your day or night, whatever time is in your place. And I wish you the best. Bye-bye.